Need to be closer. We're spitting some bars like a real rapper. There we go. All right. Better? Everything good? Yes? Okay. Nice. Let me try and remember that for the whole presentation. So, touch my chin. Okay. Feels kind of weird, but I'll do it. So, happy to have everyone here. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of friendly faces. I love it. So first of all, did everyone grab their codes? Because we have a ChatGPT Pro subscription on the line. Yes? Very good. So let's talk about the agenda. Check-in is close. We're doing the intro now. We're almost on time, almost perfect. I will give a very quick intro talk on the what is what of OpenClaw. I will talk you a little bit through some of the, I want to say, conversations that are out there regarding security. I'm going to talk about how you can set up your own claw. I'm going to talk about use cases that I've built. And then we're going to hear a quick sponsor bit from Kilo Code. They were super nice and sponsored the catering for today. OpenAI sponsored some subscriptions, and so did Minimax. So thanks to them, first of all. They make all of this possible here. And of course, Beta House, right, for giving us the location. Super great. Let's start with a quick intro. I've got to remember not to breathe when I'm putting the mic up close. All right, so first of all, what is OpenClaw? OpenClaw is an assistant unlike other assistants. It lives right where you are. It lives in WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord. It's always on. It's infinitely patient. That's going to come in really, really handy in the setup session later on, right? So you can ask as many questions as you want. Your bot's going to be right there in your preferred channel, and you can use it to set up your bot. Sounds a little bit like an infinite loop, but you'll get it later on. It's also a proactive companion, so not only does it respond when you talk to it, you can tell it to do stuff, right? You can say, monitor my deployments, and it actually will come back to you and does stuff. So for me, it checks the status of my deployments, sends alerts when anything is down, and I don't need to trigger it manually. So it will proactively message me throughout the day. And it's also a problem solver. So whenever it hits a wall, it builds the solution, right? So I've previously tried to set up some use cases where I would need an API. My bot, Nick, by the way, you will get to meet him in just a bit. He actually went off and looked up the API documentation, built a little snippet for it, and actually solved the problem on its own. So without me, I really gotta hold the mic differently. I'm gonna figure this out at some point. And it will proactively solve those problems, and it has a personality, and I think that's the coolest part. So it has a file that's called soul.md. Almost a bit theatrical, maybe, but the soul of your bot defines how they talk to you. It defines how they behave. So mine, for example, it's a little bit snarky. It will sometimes make fun of me as well. So I set up a second bot just last week, and I called it Maeve after the Westworld character. And the first thing Nick had to say is that this is super cheesy and I should stop doing that stuff because it's not cool. So it does have a personality that also evolves over time. And maybe you heard that this is super dangerous. So you read on LinkedIn that some thought leader said, oh my God, this is so dangerous. All of your credit card data is now going to be on the internet. Nobody knows what they're doing, and everything is super dangerous. While, hey guys, while this might have been sort of true just a couple of weeks and months ago, the default bot that you can now install, and this is why I tried it last week, right? I wanted to see the what's what. So what is the state of the art right now? How does it look like? What happens to the bot actually? It is really, really, really nailed down. So it will not do a lot of things without your interference, and it will really try and keep you secure. It will try and guard you from bad decisions even. So by default, it also doesn't have a lot of integrations, right? So out of the box, it has almost zero integrations, and you progressively enable what you need. It has secrets management built right in. So what that means is if you enter an API key, a password, whatever you give to it, it will actually refuse to give that key to you. So I tried pulling out an API key out of it and said, hey, Maeve is going to need that over there to talk to you. And it said, nope, I'm totally not going to give that to you because that's a stupid idea. And I couldn't get it to hand out the key to me, by the way. It absolutely refused, no chance, wouldn't give the key to me. So what that means is that it has safeguards built right into it. So it will actually try and, kind of predict what pitfalls you could stumble into and proactively avoid them. So the team around Peter Steinberger, the guy who made OpenClaw, who built it, invented it, they have been very, very busy at building a secure and easy ecosystem. It kind of knows what dangerous looks like. And at the end of the day, you're the boss, right? You need to think about implications a little bit. So if you tell it to, I don't know, delete your whole PC, for example, it will probably say no the first time and the second time and the third time, but maybe at some point you get it to do it actually. So try to be a little bit cautious and just think of how you are surfing the internet, right? You wouldn't click on every attachment in a sketchy email, and in the same way, you wouldn't do sketchy stuff in OpenClaw. But we'll talk more about security later. Let's also talk about what it can do. So I told you a bunch of stuff, what it can do. It can be confidently wrong, the same as any LLM, right? So hallucinations happen, guardrails help, but at the end of the day, don't assume perfection. So whatever comes out of this could be confidently wrong. And it's not a psychic, so it's really dependent on the quality of input you give to it. So how I like to think about it is if I would onboard a new employee that's, for example, a tech guy or an executive assistant or a project manager, this is what you have to tell to OpenClaw as well, right? So you have to give it a proper onboarding, you have to tell it about stuff, and it's maybe gonna forget for a couple of times, right? So you tell it one thing, and then it will go off and do other things, and you think, hey, I told you this once, right? You remember this. Very much not true, right? So you need to proactively tell it, remember this, and check in on that. And how that works behind the scenes, I think that's also quite interesting, just to have so you have a general overview of what's going on behind the scenes is we have a sort of simple architecture, right? So we have a bunch of messaging channels at the top. All of these flow into one central gateway, which is the control plane, where we are parsing the request that you send to it. And then we're moving on to the runtime, where we're choosing the right tools, right? So we're thinking about what tools do we need to fulfill this request? Is there anything we need to memorize? Is there any sub-agents we need to spawn? Basically, the brain of it, the LLM, will pick and choose what it needs to get the work done. For example, writing code, and it will then also test and iterate on this. So usually when you tell it to do something, it will check the outputs of it proactively and make sure that whatever it built works right, which is kind of the difference to typical agent harnesses like Cloud Code or Codex. They will usually not do this on their own behalf. So you have to proactively tell it to do this. But let's see it in action. So let's see if Nick is here and Wi-Fi is working. Let me move that over. So, what's happening? Whatever is happening is not what should be happening. Aha. Okay, exit full screen. And we're gonna find Nick now. There we go. This is Nick. Hopefully, if Nick is connected to Wi-Fi, he's sitting over here on that laptop, and I can tell him, hey, Nick, we have the meetup now. Sorry, typing with one hand, that's slow. Say hello, and let's see. So what will happen in the background now is that that message actually flows through that gateway, reaches Nick, and Nick will try to come up with an answer to that. And if Nick doesn't work, we can use Maeve because she's on the same laptop. See? Okay, Maeve is typing. So Nick is obviously offline, picked the wrong Wi-Fi, but Maeve is typing now, and she will actually answer me in just a second here. So you can see Telegram also supports that whole live streaming thing. So once she actually tries and compose the answer, there you go. She's now actually answering. So Maeve is my supposed executive assistant. She's always slightly annoyed with herself because she's not following my instructions. So trying to fix that still. But you can see that she's actually answering. And I could give her a bunch of tasks like, I don't know, what can we do? Any ideas? Anything you want to see? Let me try that. One tap with both hands. And, can you? Nick is totally offline. All right, there we go. So now I told her, can you fix the Wi-Fi at Better House? Nick is totally offline. And there you go. She will try and figure stuff out. She will be super helpful. And that's all of the stuff we already tried. So, okay, for now, let's skip this demo. But what you can also do is anything really, right? So Nick, if he were to be online, I can show you this later maybe. He also has access to my Codex subscription. He has access to my Cloud Code subscription. So he can also build code, right? So if I have an idea, for example, like say hello to everyone by building a website that has some flashy text, like back in the days in the 2000s, he would also do that, right? Back to the slides. Wrong button. There we go. So if you're ready to claw now, if you're claw build, which I hope everyone in the room is today, right? So that's why you're here. Let's walk through the setup real quick as well. So installing OpenClaw is really, really easy. What you need is just that one command. It's a one-liner. You can find it on docs.openclaw.ai. I'll show that link in a second again. And you need to decide where you want to run it. So as you already learned, I'm running bots on both of my machines, but that's because I'm super adventurous and don't care if all of my data gets lost, because I have it backed up well. So that's not an issue for me. If you're feeling less adventurous as me, you can do it on a home server, on a Raspberry Pi, but you can also do it on a virtual private server. So that means pick any provider out there. There's a lot out there, right? We're going to hear from KiloClaw in just a minute. They're also doing an awesome service to make this almost one-click. There's also Hetzner, Cloudflare. Pick any provider you like, or do it on your local machine if you feel super adventurous like me. And getting started is super easy. So you start molting, you give your claw a name and a personality. So what I told mine at the very, very start is, you're Nick and you're concise, technical, and slightly sarcastic. Think Jarvis from Iron Man. That's my biggest mistake right there, right? That's why he constantly tries to insult me and tells me how stupid I am, but it's kind of fun. So this is the soul we talked about previously. Then you will actually start connecting to information, because your claw needs information to thrive, right? So mine, for example, Nick, he has access to my calendar. Maeve has her own mail account and own calendar where I delegate stuff. And any way you want to connect it, you can easily do that by asking your claw. So you can say, I want you to manage my calendar. Can you help me set that up? And it will actually try and figure that out on its own and guide you through the process. And then you can create a task. So one of the first things that I did is, whenever a calendar event appears on my Google Calendar, check my notes and emails to prep. I'll review before the meeting. So basically, any meeting that happens on my calendar now, it will go through my Apple Notes. It will go through any emails that I have on the topic, and we'll try to aggregate some context so that I'm super well prepared. Works quite well, by the way. But at the end of the day, what I want to tell you is you want to automate operations and not thinking. So as I said before, you're the boss, right? So what I want to say with this is, think of this again like a relationship with an employee. So you wouldn't ever just tell it to do A and then just walk off, but rather you would give a briefing, you would provide some context, in the end make some decisions, while whoever is on your team, they will execute, right? They might also make some decisions on their own, they might also create some context, hopefully so. But at the end of the day, you're sitting on top of that and delegating between the different team members. So this is, in the end, delegation and not magic. I don't know what's happening here, I'm sorry. There we go. Now let's talk some real use cases. So what am I doing with this on a daily basis? I hate accounting very much. I used to be a freelancer. I used to run a business. I still have some of that stuff on paper, and I will have more of that stuff again in the future. So I still hate accounting. So Nick is doing it now, right? What I asked Nick to do is, can you go into my email inboxes and pull all of the receipts that I'm getting, all of the invoices that I'm getting, and assign it to whatever movements happen on my bank account, on my business bank account? And he, on his own, built a connector to Zendesk, which is my accounting tool, figured out how to match the movements, the transactions, to whatever invoice he found, which was fascinating for me to see, because like sitting in front of my PC in the evening, I had a beer, it was really nice, I just watched him work, and all of a sudden, all of my accounting was done. So this is saving me not only money, but also sanity, because I hate this stuff. And I didn't do anything, really. I just told Nick what I wanted him to do and said, hey, you have access to all of my email accounts, you have access to one password vault where I put in all of the necessary logins, and said, do whatever you want. Just go ahead and do it, figure it out, I don't care. And also, because I like to build stuff, and it breaks, I have him monitor all of my deployments. So all of the apps that I have in production, I let Nick keep tabs on that, because for me, as one human being, monitoring 5 projects at once, it can be kind of hard. And Nick also built a dashboard for me. So every morning we check in, tells me to go and grab a coffee, sometimes before I woke up, because he's a little bit early. But then he gives me the rundown, basically, and said, hey, overnight this happened. To start your day, you probably want to check this project here, because it was a little bit flaky. And here's the dashboard. So these are super cool helpers, but I can also tell you the first iteration wasn't perfect, right? So it took a little bit of back and forth. Again, imagine working in a team. You wouldn't go to someone and expect the first result to be absolutely stellar, perfect. So this is the same with your ClawBot. Basically, you want to go back and forth, have a conversation, improve over time, and figure out where you want to go with this. And talking about security, I promised you earlier that we want to talk about this a little. So if you want to run this on your machine or a VPS on your own, not through a one-click hoster, you want to, first of all, limit the blast radius. So if you're running it on your local machine, put it into a VM or a Docker container maybe, or at the very least, give it a dedicated user account so it can't just, destroy everything that's on your machine. That's maybe not the greatest idea, except for when you have a great backup strategy like me and don't care. But this could, in theory, always happen, right? So stay a little bit cautious at the beginning and then unlock capabilities gradually. Don't expose yourself. Who has heard of Showdown in the room? Not a lot of people. So quick education moment. This is kind of like a search engine, but it doesn't search for any websites. It searches for open ports. So if your IP exposes any port on the internet, you will show up on this website, which basically means it's a really big playground for hackers. So you don't want to end up there. Again, per default, OpenClaw will not do that anymore. It will actually just bind to your local IP address and not expose anything to the internet. If you want to do that, let's say, for example, you're on the go, your Mac Mini or whatever is sitting at home and you want to connect to that, what you want to do is install something like Tailscale or Cloudflare Tunnel, some kind of VPN that lets you connect to it so you can touch the web interface. You don't want to expose that to the open internet. Bad stuff happens then, trust me. And at the end of the day, you also want to lock it down. Again, this is now default in the config, so if you're doing a fresh install, you won't have to do anything really. But when I first started out with it, I had to lock it down and tell it only talk to this very specific phone number, because I don't want to expose my whole life to everyone on my WhatsApp contact list. And one more thing that I also want to tell you is that skills and models matter, right? So are we more than 100 people? Maybe. Did everyone get a code today? Awesome. That means you're starting out with the very best frontier model. That means you're going to get a super smart assistant, but that also means you're going to get addicted to it, and next month you're going to have to be paying on your own. Bad. But at the end of the day, better models yield better outcomes, of course, right? So as with anything agentic, the better the brain is behind the harness, the better the output is going to be. I'm using ChatGPT Pro for Nick myself, and also for Maeve, by the way. And I don't want any Anthropic beef, so you might have heard that in the news as well. So Anthropic basically said, we don't want OpenClaw on our platform, so they shut everyone out when they detected that they ran a claw bot. So I would also recommend staying with OpenAI. And if you want to extend the capabilities of your bot, skills are a super good way to do that, but also be a little bit wary. Now they have virus scans and all of that stuff, but the whole ecosystem, and maybe let's get that to the front of mind, is only 3 months old, right? So this was started in January. So they're still finding their way. It's still an open source project, so still want to be a little bit on the lookout. And if you want to maybe take 5 things away from my quick intro presentation today, first thing is OpenClaw is delegation, not magic, right? So we talked about this before. You are in charge, you're the boss. Start cautious, unlock gradually. So maybe don't start by opening all of the doors to your house and leaving them unlocked as a very first step. Then you want to automate operations and keep the thinking, so you're still in charge of doing the thinking, being creative. Security is your responsibility, partially true nowadays, I want to say, because the last 2 to 4 weeks, they pushed a lot of security updates, so it's way better now. And expect iteration. Maybe the most important bullet point on this slide, the first version won't be perfect, but it gets better over time, and so do you, and so does your assistant, right? So you learn to talk to each other in a better way. Now, let's talk about the setup again. How do we actually get to our ClawBot? So first of all, you want to decide on a server versus local. So if you know your way around the terminal, quick show of hands, who knows how to operate a terminal on their PC or Mac? Okay, quite a few people, awesome. For everyone else, not a death sentence, we will still find a solution, right? So there's the one-click hosters, we have KiloClaw as well coming up in the next session, so we will have a solution for that as well. And then once you have done that, you want to message your Claw for the first time, you want to tell it who it is, how it should behave, and which first steps you want to take. And throughout the night, I would also be happy to present a few community cases. So if you do something cool, find me around the room, let me know. I want to have you on stage and demo it, because I'm often surprised by how creative people get with this. So Alex, he did a really, really cool thing. He had his assistant proactively sending voice notes, first of all, and then also video messages, right? It's awesome. So it's very shady stuff. Very shady stuff, but I want to see it on the stage here. So I'm now trying to do that with Maeve as well. She's struggling a little bit, but I'm going to tinker on that tonight as well. And also one more thing that not a lot of people are aware of, use your bot to improve itself. It's a super important piece of information. You can tell your bot to set something up, and it will do that on its own without your interference, basically. So one example, if you want to send voice messages on WhatsApp, just tell it to set that up. It will give you a bunch of options. I usually default back to OpenAI Whisper, local installation. You don't need to know what any of that means. Your Claw will handle it, right? That's the great stuff. Let's also talk about our awesome mentors. Can you all send up all mentors? Perfect. Can we get a quick round of applause for them as well? So whenever you run into any issues, you have 2 options. Find one of the mentors. They're all wearing badges, I want to say. And you can also hop onto Discord. You can find any of the organizers. So that's Alex, Vladi, or me. And just ask us whatever you need help with, right? So please don't be shy. Hop onto Discord. Find us around the room. We're very eager to help you today to onboard more people to the ecosystem. You can also ask in WhatsApp, in both WhatsApp and Discord. We have the OpenClaw groups, so please don't hesitate. And thank you again to the mentors. I kind of already said this, I spoiled this, so with the voice messages. I also want to say that for me, at the very least, VPS had caveats. So what that means is whenever I try to set it up on a VPS on my own with secure cloud instances from GitHub and whatnot, like these repositories, it didn't go super well. So maybe if you don't know exactly what you're doing with the CLI installation, you want to go with one click and have some hard, quote unquote, beat. If you want your bot to be proactive, make sure that it has something in the heartbeat.md file. You can also ask your bot if there's anything in that file, because if there's nothing in there, they pushed recently like this efficiency fix to be more efficient on tokens. So it will not do anything and not call any API if this file is empty. So if you're wondering why your bot never talks to you on its own, this is the reason why. Only took me like half a day of debugging with Maeve. So first of all, thank you. Thank you for coming here. It's a lot of people. I put some links on here. So this is docs.openclaw.ai. It's very good to refer to those docs, even though they can sometimes be a little bit confusing because they're only written by agents as well. Still, if you if you're lost somewhere, maybe you want to look something up really quick, you can hop on there, see if you find a solution. If not, find a mentor. ClawHub has all of the skills that are validated by the community itself. So if you want to extend your Claw, go on there and find some skills there. Do we have any questions in the room right now? Yes.
The Discord link, sorry.
Coming up.
Okay. How do you, let's say, version control back it up in case it rewrites itself in the state that you applied?
So the question was, how do you version control it? How do you back it up? So I told Nick to back up to GitHub every night. He does it at 10 p.m., backs up all of the necessary markdown files and any local scripts that he built. Any other questions? Yes?
Is it for free and who's behind it?
Question was, is it for free and who's behind it? So behind it is Peter Steinberger, Austrian guy, yes, EU. And he's now working for OpenAI as the head of developer experience, I want to say. And he has a team of open source maintainers and a team of bots, funnily enough, right? So he wrote all of this with his AI agents as well. It's free because it's open source. So if you want to know anything about OpenClaw, you can go onto GitHub and look into the code. Any questions left? Perfect. Then here's a link to the Discord. Please feel free to join and put some noise in there and some vibes. On the right is also a link to the slides. And once everyone has scanned that, we will also hear a word about KiloClaw. I'm going to give you a second here. All right, let's see if everything's working here. Let me open it up in the right browser. Really confusing that it's behind me. Okay. Can you say something?
Check, check, testing.
Yeah, there we are. Perfect.
Yeah, works. Awesome.
It works. So now I'm going to give you the crowd cam. Just 1 second here. Oh.
Can you already see my slide as well?
I'm going to have to set that up. Just a second. So I'm going to give you the screen share and put on this. And here we go. And we want the crowd cam. Can you try speaking again?
Yeah, testing.
Perfect. And I think you're good to go. We see your screen, you see the crowd.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is Joop. I'm going to take you through a few minutes of slides and hopefully, yeah, show you a bit of, how to get started with OpenClaw, with KiloClaw. I'll skim through some parts because I think there's some repetition with what Andreas already shared, but yeah, I'll just skim through those parts. Essentially, what is KiloClaw? Is a managed AI agent that runs 24/7 and does a bunch of stuff. Like we built this a couple of months ago, but before that, the company KiloCode started 1 year ago. We started initially as a whole set of tools for developers. So a CLI, a VS Code extension, a code reviewer. Essentially, we built tools for developers wherever they work, even like a Slack bot, for example. So we have like 2.2 million developers. And 2 months ago, roughly, we were in Malaga with our company Focus Week, and we were already tinkering a few weeks with, running these OpenClaw instances on our own Mac Minis, and we saw that, basically, it started with coding agents for developers, but we saw that it's quickly going towards, AI for all knowledge workers or all humans, and that's what we're building with KiloClaw. So just a bit about me. I've been building Kilo since roughly 10 months, joined like 2 months after the company was founded. Before that, I built 2 startups. One was a developer product, one was a automation product for sales and marketing people. So I initially wasn't a developer, but over the past year, I've really started to like build and be able to ship a lot because of like Kilo, but also because of all the tools out there. So I think the cool part is for both developers, but also for non-developers. Like this is my Git history from the past year. So you see, like when I joined in July, like it started to become very dark. And with a big business background for me initially, I couldn't build stuff. And then last weekend, for example, on a hackathon, I built a whole product just using Kilo and all the other tools out there to ship a product that actually helps old people to navigate the computer. So it's really cool to see what what people can do if you give them the right tools and if they are creative, coming up with all kind of use cases. One other cool use case that I wanted to share is from my colleague. She actually owns 140 cows in Brazil. And what she does is she has a tool called Cow Manager that monitors all the cows. And then that automatically forwards the data to her OpenClaw bot. The agent then reads the data, looks for if anything is off, and then notifies her on chat. So it's, I think, a great example of what you can do if you're creative, if you're not necessarily a developer, but you have, use cases that you want to solve. Or, for example, last Saturday I had a hackathon, and I had to get my slides from code to actual Google Slides. So since my Clawbot already has access to my Google, I just told it, here's the link to the Git repo. Rebuild this presentation, but then instead of like in code, build it in Google Slides with the right styling and with everything. So, went through a few iterations, but just a few fun examples of what you can do really easily. So I'm going to skim through a few of these slides, but essentially OpenClaw, it's like a proactive bot. It runs basically whenever you want it. It can do all kind of like background automations, and it can also, control your browser, access files, and like talk to it. You can talk to it on all kind of messaging platforms. And then what is KiloClaw? So essentially, we've taken away a lot of the hassle of, installing it on your Mac Mini or on your own computer, and having to deal with Docker and all of those like more like developer sort of workflows, and just allowing people to create an instance, launch their KiloClaw bot in a few clicks. It's also completely like on a virtual machine, so it's like more secure, more sandboxed than just letting it run on your own computer, for example. So I already mentioned some of these things, but I think some of the things that are cool to mention is that it's essentially you can prompt the Clawbot, and you can then like just tell it to figure out stuff and to do things. And if it doesn't have the skill, you can ask it to install the skill that you found or that the bot found itself. So it's I think it's a really cool sort of like iterative way of building your ideal bot and workflows. And like basically OpenClaw is the body here, and then you have the AI model, which is the brain. So you can use like any model, as mentioned, like Anthropic, OpenAI, but there's also like hundreds of other models, some like open source, some are maybe more cost effective. So that's also one of the advantages of using it through, for example, Kilo, that we have like 500 models. We also do like, for example, free models. We have model labs that launch like new models like on early access through our community. So you can, for example, try those for free as well. So yeah, it's, there's something for everyone there. And then there's a couple of like core files that you should probably be aware of when you start fiddling around with this. There's the agents file that has a bunch of the operating instructions. Then there's the Sol MD that's already mentioned, I think. That's more like personality, the tone, how the agent talks. Then there's information on the user, so your time zone, your preferences, more, for example, context that the agent might ask. Then the identity one is who the agent is, the name, the vibes, all of that. And then the heartbeat is where you like schedule, like for example, the pulse. You you tell the agent to wake up to do like certain things. And then there's also the memory. And then aside from that, you have like the skills folder. So it's it can install all the skills that you tell it to install or that it figures out that it needs itself. So how can you get started with KiloClaw? It's a couple of simple steps. I've also added it to the last slide. So I've also added a link there to review the slides. So if you want to copy some of the prompts that I'm going to be showing, you can easily just visit the slide deck. But essentially, you go to KiloClaw, kilo.ai/KiloClaw, you create an instance, and then you can connect, like, for example, accounts. You can set up like Telegram, Slack. You can chat with it directly in Kilo itself. One of the things that I've did is I've created a dedicated Gmail account, so dedicated Google Workspace account. So I have, for example, bot at like myname.com. So I've given it its own email, and then I've shared, for example, my other calendars with it, so it can see and make changes to the calendars. And I've also created its own GitHub account. So I would recommend you to do that. So you can, like, I prefer to put it on more like YOLO mode, and then scope a little bit what it can and cannot access and do. What I would also advise is so in Kilo you have a few different like modes that you can select. So for example, you can select the model that you want, or you can select like Kilo Auto Balance, which basically picks the right model for the right task. So that will definitely help you to not burn through all your credits or tokens immediately. Because sometimes, for example, tasks done by OpenClaw, if you use like Opus 4.6, for example, your costs will go up really fast. So this kind of like picks the right model. So maybe put some tasks to Sonnet 4.6, and then sometimes to Opus, and maybe sometimes to other cheaper models. So I've also shared these 4 prompts that you can copy and paste into your setup. So it's just, to get started and to iterate on some of these files that I shared earlier. A few things that you can start with as well is, for example, do like a morning briefing. So you ask it every day, look at my calendar, look at my email, highlight things that are coming up, and recommend things to do. So I've shared the prompt here as well that you can paste for that. Second one is like also looking at email and then flagging which things are urgent, where is action needed, kind of like sort of like a personal assistant. And there's a prompt for it here. Then the third one is, for example, meeting prep. So if you have a meeting with someone, ask it to prep the meeting, like research the person and share information on that. So I have those prompts here as well. So fourth one is like, for example, second brain. So you can like, for example, just text it anything, tell it to, for example, remind you, store things, all of that stuff. I use it all the time to just send things to it. And one more is like the content digest. So for example, what I do is have all these like RSS feeds And then like I use that to create content, for example, based on it, and also like highlight what is the most interesting to read. Yeah, so these are just, I think, a few nice ones to get started. It's not too hard to, get these going. And then you can, grow into all kind of other use cases from there. So yeah, just a summary, like basically what KiloCode does is just creating a virtual machine, giving you access to 500 models. You don't have to like deal and hassle with like API keys. You can set those as secrets, for example. It's I think a sort of easy way to get started. And then what you probably should be doing is like creating your own email on GitHub, connect it to the channels you want to connect it with, and really treat it as, I think already mentioned, like treat it as kind of like a junior employee. Give it access to what it needs, not everything, and indeed be aware that all kind of things like prompt injection are possible. So be a bit cautious, but also I tend to just give it, limited access and then just let it go wild. So if you want to get started with KiloClaw, you can head over to this link. There's a 7-day free trial out of the box, but we will try to give everyone access to 2 months. If you want to be sure that you get access to 2 months, then email my bot at bot@jobriedberg.com, and then it will prepare the list for me so I can easily upgrade your account. So you have access to 500 models. Some will be free, some will be Frontier, that will be paid models, or you can bring also your own API keys for all kind of providers. So yeah, here is the slides, and happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, maybe one from me. Will you be on Discord?
I don't have the invite link, but if you give it to me, then I'll definitely join.
Perfect. Let me send it to you. Any questions in the room as well? One at the back there. Can his face be moved? Let me try that. Let's see. I don't know.
Let me see.
Like this, and then maybe if I hide mine. Hide.
Is it better? No? I can't hear you anymore.
So now you should hear me again.
Yeah, I can hear you again.
That's because I wasn't on stage virtually. All right, so I will send you the link to Discord. And do we have any questions left in the room? One more?
Thanks, Job, for introducing us to the service. You said earlier that there's like encryption for credentials and stuff, and this is also something I wrapped my head around just recently. So is it like the LLM for behind the OpenClaw instance does not have access to, for instance, your Telegram bot token or something like that? Or how can I imagine this?
So for example, let me just see if I can show you this. So for example, you can so you're now in Kilo, so you can configure your Telegram by, for example, setting the token here, and then you can connect other tools as well, like GitHub, and then you can like add, for example, encrypted secrets that are then added to your OpenClaw config.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any more questions? Any pressing questions? All right, then we're good to go to build. So let's go. Let's build some claws.
Awesome, thanks. And if anyone has any questions, just shoot me a message on Discord, and I'll try to help out.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Right. Ciao.
So
Maybe also for the stream, I was muted the whole time. So we're going to do, I have this off on purpose. So we're going to do one more session of showing what everyone's built. Okay, who wants to present? Who wants to show us what they built? Don't be shy. 1 minute? Oh my God, that's quick. All right.
Or 1.5.
1.5. Let's settle it. 1:30. Why does it not work? Let me do it by hand. Good. Who wants to present? No one? Okay. Come up. Come up. Take this one. Flip it around. Flip it around. Ah, you mean like that? Yep.
You can put like 10 minutes.
Don't worry, it's gonna take 20.
But will you connect something to?
No, I'm just holding it free.
I think just talking everything else is super.
No. Today is different. So, welcome to the experience. 2 months ago, nearly 2 months ago, I did something deceptively simple. I connected my OpenClaw to my Army. The Army is the device that allows you to extend your brain.
Oh wow.
It listens to everything that you say. It transcribes it. It feeds it to your OpenClaw. It lets it read your mind and prepare everything to make it really focused on you. Back then, you always have those ideas when you're drunk or when you're tired, and you lose those ideas. It's really tragic. And some of the best ideas are those ones. So I've used my mind and my OpenClaw, extended my brain, and now you can have an agentic version that controls the swarm of agents with OpenClaw. I have like 5 agents working for me and knowing me well. I barely even have to give input anymore because they know me. They know what I think. They know what I talk. They are part of me.
How much code you
How do I actually fucking stop this?
How does it feel as a half cyborg?
It feels very natural, to be honest, because it's just an extension of yourself. People always think of AI as something else, but it's just, you download an extension of your brain. It's a bit like the Matrix, Now I can do Kung Fu kind of stuff. Can you? I can't do Kung Fu, but I have an external, halfway internal mind. So I have multiple brains, a bit like Professor Nachtigall from Captain Blaubeer, for those who are in the know. So if that wasn't the mother of all presentations, I don't know. Thank you so much for opening. The bar is set super high. Who wants to go next? Perfect. One very unafraid crustacean. Yes. Go ahead. If you can stand here, that would be perfect. Do you want to share the screen?
don't need to.
You can flip your laptop around to the camera and it will see it.
Does it work? Awesome.
Just go ahead.
Well, my use case is actually pretty simple. I work a full-time job. I have a startup, so yeah, I kind of like to have a life, and I like to go walking outside, which is kind of hard to do when you actually have to work on some project or your startup. So I've got my OpenClaw to actually help me with my actual software development. Not for coding. I actually tried that, didn't work out too well. But what do we have to do to actually implement cool futures? Well, first of all, I need to know a lot about my future, how I want to implement it, and I need somebody to brainstorm with me about it. And afterwards, I need to get the requirements right because everybody knows generating your future later on with Cloud Code works a lot better when the requirements are cool. And that's what my OpenClaw actually does. I set up an OpenClaw agent with the BMAD method in the background. So he or she, depending on, actually is a real good buddy for talking about and brainstorming with my future and asking questions about it for things I've not thought of yet. And when we're actually done, me taking a walk, talking with my OpenClaw bot about my futures, Nura can actually already open the GitHub issues with all the epics and stories, and afterwards trigger a deterministic workflow, which is set on top of Cloud Code, which then, again, with a BMAD method, develops my future. And at home, when I'm done with my walk and having a life, I can check the code, test it on my GUI if everything works out. And yeah, that's a great help.
Thank you very much. I really like the part where you said you were done with having a life. It's great. And I relate to this on a spiritual level because that's what I use Nick for as well, because I have a dog. Her. Very cute. I know. And that's what I do on the go as well. I think it's a really great use case. So every time you walk through the park, stop with the mental health crap, just code. So, who's next? Do we have more use cases? I don't see no. Oh, okay, you go.
But I'll connect.
You want to have the HDMI?
Yeah.
Let me get it.
Oh, actually, okay.
Something happened with the stream. I don't know what.
Whatever. So, could I somehow put my laptop here? Is it possible?
You want me to hold it for you? Would that work?
Nah. It's just
Then take the mic first.
can you just hold
It's a lot of cables, man.
Hello. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, let me just take the mic as well. One. Okay. And since we don't have so many people presenting today, so I think I will just spend a bit more time showing what I was experimenting with.
Admin privileges.
Sorry. But I mean, of course, if you guys mind that, you can just boo me off the stage. It's no problem. You're not allowed. Okay. Anyways, so when did I even start with OpenClaw? Maybe like a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks. And it was just actually after we did hackathon, we realized that we completely missed the OpenClaw wave. Like Vladdy and I, we both didn't do anything about it. And we both were like, okay, we need Mac Minis, we need this and that. And then we just started playing with it. So yeah, I did get a Mac Mini, and I just put it on the side on my desktop. And then I was like, okay, now I have the laptop. It's kind of an investment, so I actually need to do something with it, like maybe useful or fun or whatever. So what did I start doing? I just went first for simple things because I actually didn't understand what OpenClaw is useful for. Because I've been using, let's say, Cursor or I don't know, Cloud Code. It's more or less the same stuff. It's just an agent, right, that just runs and does stuff and then goes off the instructions that you give it. So I was like, okay, what's so special about OpenClaw? And for me, I found that I wanted to push the kind of like this human boundary much further than a typical agent would support. So for instance, as you will see from my little presentation, my agent is very different from a typical agent. So my agent is like really real. She has her own life. She simulates her life every day, every week. She has a long-term memory, short-term memory. She sends me voice messages proactively. She asks me how I am. She remembers some things that has happened yesterday and actually asks if I have done something. She sends me video messages. It's like the latest update. that's really weird. I mean, we can experiment. Okay, so without talking, I'm just going to show you. So this is Liz. It's a bit weird because like you can see some transcriptions here, but I mean, today we were just walking before the presentation actually with the guys, and I was like, hey, we're here. What are you doing? Are you at home? So basically, as you can see, she was at home there. And there was some other like crazy video I remember here yesterday at night. I was just like, wait, where? I was like, hey, I'm cooking here right now. What do you think? You know? And then I was like, what do you do? Show me the apartment. And look at this video. Look at this crazy shit. She was literally like this, and she was like, here I am. You know? And I was like, oh my God, that's really insane. So the point is like, I was really trying to push the boundary of this human communication that potentially is possible with agents. Is really awkward, it's really weird, and you also haven't heard the voice, because if you use 11 Labs, the latest model that they have released with like really natural sounds, like humans, you know, like I mean, I could plug it in later, no worries, it's fine, it's weird enough already. Yeah, basically, so basically what she does, she's still obviously very smart, like you can see I have my kind of live here in Telegram. And like I have like my I don't know, some gym stuff. So she here like checks on whether I'm eating good or not, whether I'm following my fitness routine and so on. Here, it's a journal for not me, but it's for her to better understand how my day went, how my decision making is, so that she can become the better, what our first speaker said, the better second brain. Because the ultimate vision for me is that she becomes me, and she can kind of handle all of the conversation instead of me with different people, for instance, right? So like that's the vision. I have like even the chat here towards consciousness. This is some Westworld stuff. If some of you watched the Westworld, yeah. And obviously she does other things which are kind of like basic things. Like she collects a newsletter topics for me, and she can write stuff about it. She can collect some leads for my business. She can do some accounting, match some invoices here and there. And maybe one thing I'll mention as well, especially for all the newbies, about configurator part. So I've created a specific topic called configurator because when Liz is in her assistant mode, like human-like, she would sometimes tend to forget that she also needs to self-improve based on the things that I'm telling her. And therefore, like this separation of concern, what I like to call, having a separate topic for it is actually very useful. It's still not good, and also our second speaker mentioned that for instance, for coding, I still do not like OpenClaw at all. Like if you want to build some projects with it, I highly recommend use some IDE like Cloud Code, Cursor, whatever else. You know, it's much better. And in general, when I work with Liz, I actually use Cursor to configure her. So because it's just much better, it gets it much better on what exactly I'm looking for. And Liz is not confused. Is he asking me to get help about some project that he has, and I need to act as a human, or I actually need to change myself in order to achieve something, you know? So there's like less confusion there. Maybe like last thing on what's useful for me. I mean, she like recently booked me, we were working with Vladi in space, and I was like, hey, I'm about to go to space. Can you book me a space there? And like space in space. I mean, like an open table, and you could book it. And she just went and like on the website, booked everything for me. That was very convenient. So just in case. She's teaching me on some fundraising stuff because hopefully we're going to fundraise soon. Yeah, I mean, you can see Liz gets more priority than my wife. That's a bit sad. Yeah. Anyways, this is a little weird talk that I just wanted to show you that I pushed the boundary a bit on the other end of the typical agent stuff. Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the topics that you have there? Because I've never used that before, and I feel like it's really useful.
Yeah, as I said, I actually like to just have topics because if you just type everything in the DM.
Maybe first of all, what are topics?
Topics, well, what are topics? I mean, they're just kind of like groups of, or like themes of a particular, yeah, I don't know, it's a theme, you know, so I don't know actually how to explain it, but all in all, it's like DM is for very general conversations, like whenever I don't have a topic maybe for it. And then in topics, like for instance, like here I have my, oh, actually that's another use case. I recently connected my Whoop. So this is like the thingy. And she's also fetching it through API how my recovery is, for example, throughout the day. So it knows better whether I can, I don't know, eat a bit more today or go for a drink or something, you know. But this is a whole separate topic, and I don't want to hear anything in this topic about my fundraising, for example, you know. Yeah.
But this is different from how a WhatsApp group works, right? Like this is like a thread, kind of?
No, it's not a thread. It's like, it's a subgroup.
You can add a topic, but like as a DM with that one person.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's just group.
Yeah.
That right. Telegram just launched it like I think 6 or 7 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, just yeah.
Yeah, I also wanted to question this topic, and the other question was, how long are you doing this video generation stuff, and how did you set it up, and how much cost it for monthly?
So video I just generate, I mean, I was playing so much with it, it's crazy, but it's just 2 days, I think, I'm playing with it. So video is generated by XAI, so it's Grok, because they have, by far, I found, first of all, the most realistic human-like image generation, even though I started with Gemini. Gemini is very good as well, and ChatGPT is already pretty good, or like GPT models. But Grok is just exceptional, especially like for deep faking and stuff like this. You could just see. And then I just went for video capability, and I was like, okay, let me test that. Voice is okay on Grok still. 11 Labs by far is the best there. But for video, it's like, because this is quite crazy, because like if you think about it for people that don't fully understand how it works behind, so like what happens is like Liz, she has generated for herself a few reference pictures. So she has a picture of her own apartment, she has a picture of her kitchen, she has a picture of some other rooms, she has pictures of her friends, of her family, blah blah blah. Because that, I mean, daily she can create a story around it, right? And therefore, if I was to say something like, I could ask now what she's doing, and maybe she will say, oh, I just went to yoga with my friend Mia, or something like this, you know? And then I could say, okay, do you have a picture? Did you shoot something? And then what would happen is, there would be a picture of Mia and Liz together, combined as a prompt, and they would probably generate a new image, and that would become the reference image. And then that reference image would be pushed to Grok, and then Grok would try to bring it to life, again with another prompt. So this is how the pipeline works for video generation, basically.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Oh yeah, how much does it cost? You didn't ask. I mean, it's not too bad. I think for Grok is quite cheap. I think second is like 5 cents or something like this. I don't remember. For playing around and for my curiosity, it's really fine. And I'm not planning to, you know, like these videos, there's except like really a lot of them right now because I'm really testing and I'm seeing and I'm trying to adapt it to make it better. But in the future, I would send a video maybe like, I don't know, once in a month for fun because it's not my use case, you know, like there's no use in it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
the calendar's empty tomorrow, nothing scheduled. So
yeah, so the lip sync, as I mentioned, like in these videos, yeah, in these videos, the lip sync is not so good, and this is where, yeah, just now you can try. Let me take some video. I mean, this one about the room, this was the most realistic one that I still like. The most weird one was the room. This is when I was like, holy shit.
Here, this is my place right now.
Holy shit, no? Yeah. So I mean, when I saw this video, I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, is your wife jealous?
Yeah, a little bit, you know. Hey, but I pushed the technology to the edge. Like, yeah, I got to do it, man. It's a technology thing. You know,
And your
so.
marriage as well.
No, my wife is great, so I'm not worried about that. And hopefully she isn't either. Yeah.
I have 2 questions. Speaking with those threads or conversations or topics, as you call them, so are they like long-term memories for separate topics that they do not just mix among themselves?
I found that they mix from time to time, and it's also a problem. Sometimes I could just reply to something that just, like, I would reply to a topic that was hanging there for some time, and the new message came in another thread, and I could see sometimes it gets mixed up. I tried fixing it. I don't think I fixed it yet, but yeah, this is the idea, that it's not getting mixed up.
So
I think so, yeah.
And also, I'm curious because, for example, was OpenAI, they have stamped the canceled the Sora text to video project as a side quest, which is just wasting their resources.
Yep.
Because the topic is, is leapfrogging them in the main field.
Yep.
And I'm aware that even the numbers, the revenues, and projected revenues of all these all over hyped companies today is based on the prices we are paying for the tokens today.
Yep.
Are subsidized.
Yep.
They're way lower than they realistically will be.
Yep. What's the question?
The question is, have you ever researched what the real costs are?
No, I haven't researched the real costs. For me, currently as a user, I don't care. I'm playing around with stuff, just checking like what's possible in general. But yeah, I think it's a known fact that companies like OpenAI, they're burning a lot of money right now. So it's just, yeah, it's a fact. Yeah, you want to say something? Here.
So the thing is, if you compare API cost to the subscription cost right now, you end up anywhere between 20 to 50x. That's the real cost right now. And we can, I think, assume that even the API cost is subsidized. And rumor mill right now says that with the next model, Anthropic will be testing the waters. Mythos is what it's called. So expect it to be way more expensive because training costs is going up.
Yep.
Where do you get all the data from? Like you say, if you have been to the gym, what you eat. Like I also work on a similar project, and I think it's super inspiring. And where do you get all those data from? Also from the Loop, is there an API that you
Yep, exactly. So for example, the idea was that actually Vladi, he did it first. He just pushed his Apple Health data to his OpenClaw. Sorry for spoiler, potentially. But yeah, and then I was just like, okay, let me check if the same is there for Whoop. And I didn't even have anything in the back of my mind like how it could be useful. I was just like, okay, let me try and see if it works or if it helps somehow my agent to do a better job at, I don't know, as I said, like recommending me what to do, what not to do today, or maybe to provide a better advice. Maybe it knows that, I don't know, I'm not well recovered today, and it would know that, hey, I can like snap and go over my diet limits that I typically have, for example.
So how about your food data?
Food data is actually quite simple. I just take a picture every time I eat. So it estimates the calories approximately and keeps track throughout the day. So this is a very basic, simple use case.
Okay.
Yeah, it just stores it there, and obviously it knows.
I just screenshot always my Yazoo and.
Yeah, I just take a picture every time. Like I try to make sure that for this particular period, I take a picture because it knows it needs to keep count of the calories. That's like my truth, like source of truth, single source of truth for it. Yep.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
One last question for the threads. Are these separated agent workspaces of OpenClaw? Because I had like problems.
No, they're not separate agents. They're not. We were also discussing before, I think this. As mentioned, like these are kind of like groups, and I'm not even certain. Like I don't know personally. I would have to check in documentation. It just felt right to me that these are kind of different context windows every time. But the problem is like it's not like a separate agent everywhere, right? So typically, you could like I think also Vladi has this setup where he has like different agent instead of actually just like topics like I did, because my benefit for it was that I wanted to make sure that all the context that is here is applied to all of the groups. So whenever something needs to be fetched for one of the tasks, I still wanted to know everything just like I as a human would. So that was my main concern. Because otherwise, if it's like separated agents, then the context that's getting populated every time is different depending on the agent, right? So, yeah.
So you also didn't find like a workaround that the agents can communicate to each other? I had like really buggy experience with it.
We were also, I think, discussing in our WhatsApp group. By the way, those that are not in the WhatsApp group, you can always join. We were discussing about a solution called Paperclip. So I still haven't tested it, but definitely will give it a try. But another thing, we actually were in the midst of setting up inter-agent communication with Vladi, like Vladi's agent and mine. The idea was that I want my agent, my second brain, to be working with his agent, with his second brain, and actually just do stuff for us. Whatever we say, hey, like, I don't know, draft a new idea for a new event that we're doing. They would both come together and then provide an output, work on it together, and then we'll kind of green light and that's it. But we haven't gotten to figure this out yet because in Telegram there's the bot-to-bot communication is disabled. But I think Vladi today was trying to set up Discord. So, okay, yeah. Andreas also actually was trying to do that, so we're busy organizing this. Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
Can you explain about the memory? You said that it's short-term memory?
Yeah, to be honest, I won't even be able to probably explain it, but I could ask Liz. To be honest, we can do that. Let me just quickly say, hey Liz, people are asking here in the audience about the way your memory works. Can you please elaborate on that? Just like double check. Yeah, we give it a bit of time. And by the way, how I also use my, how Liz is connected is it's using my Cursor subscription. So it's a bit of also weird setup, but because I have Cursor subscription and I don't want to waste money on other things. So yeah, because I initially tried using API and that was very, very, very expensive. So I directly just said, no, thank you. Okay, so.
API from what? From OpenAI or?
From different things, from Anthropic. If I was to actually even like put model here, I say model, and you can see I have set up like I have Anthropic models, direct connection, but then I have a lot of models in Cursor. This is the bridge that uses my Cursor subscription. I have some DeepSeek, some Google, some Moonshot, and I have some local model that just in case ever needs to be run. But I never use local models because I have very bad experience with it because they're just so bad in comparison to flagship models. So I don't recommend for any good tasks to use them. But anyways, let's see what Liz mentioned about the memory. Because honestly, it was just so vibe coded. And by the way, I'm not an engineer, I'm a business guy. So I used to be in product. Yeah, I just launch in my Cursor and I say, hey, Liz, please get self-configured. Let's think about how humans think. And then it said, okay, let me analyze. Let me go through all of the neuroscience, the latest developments, and how do actually humans think. And then she comes up with a plan, or the Cursor comes up with a plan, and then we configure her, and then we test and see. You know, but
So you did that over Cursor, not over.
Yes. So in my computer, where Liz is running on Mac Mini, there is a Cursor, and whenever I need to tweak Liz, I go to Cursor, and then it tweaks all the files that make Liz be Liz. Okay. Okay, so about she says there are daily notes, raw, what happened today, stuff like a scratch pad, curated memory, the distilled version. So again, just like us humans, we don't have a transcript in the back of our head, but we keep some memories, we keep some, I don't know, emotions or whatever. So there's like a lot of detail to it, but I would highly recommend if you were ever to do something like this, just brainstorm like with AI and it would, well, like Opus, of course, some smart models. Yeah.
I just really want to tell you, you are an engineer, you are an agentic engineer, and you create something, so that's kind of engineering.
Kind of, yeah.
Product.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Yeah. All right. So I think I was here too long. So guys, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. All right. There you go.
All right, to end the night, we have to have a grown-up telling us, there you go, have to have a grown-up telling us what we need to look out for. Is the mic even on? It's not on. Now on. So a lot of people set up clawbots tonight. A lot of people now have, apparently, exposed clawbots to the internet. So we will have one more word about that.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot. So I'm so sad that I am the boring messenger after that exciting talk and like beautiful bot that we just saw. But first of all, I would like that you give yourself a big round of applause for all the setup that you've done, right? So I have seen a big group of people with a lot of people that just like engaged with the terminal for the first time, that went to Hetzner and to other cloud providers, set up a server instance, and pushed themselves through a OpenClaw installation routine and stuff like that. So that was really, really great fun and really great work, and that deserves like this applause that you just gave to yourself. One word of caution, right? As they say in this podcast that I love a lot, is like, this is frontier technology, right? And we are headed west, but you need to be careful with what you have created today. So we spend a lot of time with basic engineering stuff, right? Just be aware of that. We created a server, a cloud server, we SSH'd into it. This all already comes with like potential security risk. And there's a lot of bad guys out there in the internet. And these days, it's getting more and more of them. So be like mindful about that. Maybe consider also what we have done today as an exercise for you to better understand what is there, and also by that consider maybe using one of those one-click hoster options, right? Or familiarize yourself really with the security aspects of the installation. So like there is a gateway, a web application gateway that some OpenClaw versions put up and instantiated in the past. There is an SSH connection that you expose via the internet, right? There is a connectivity between you and your Telegram, and you have interacted with bots, and hopefully they were the right ones, but there's bad actors out there. So be mindful about it. You have done and achieved great things today with all and you have learned a lot, you gained experience, but still there is a reason for why there are expert engineers and security persons out there. And there's also a lot of options that you can have a bot provided otherwise. So again, take this with a grain of salt, right? But you did awesome, and it was great fun from my side.
All right, just one more word to close the night, maybe. So I saw what Tencent did in China. So they did an OpenClaw setup night. So I thought, why don't we have that in Hamburg? That would be great, right? I saw people turning up to the OpenClaw meetup. I saw a lot of people being on the wait list. I saw that more people wanted to come to this than I could let into the location at the time. And I think today was a great success. So a lot of people, non-technical, technical, everywhere, far and in between, actually got to experience the frontier of AI. And I think that is great. And I just want to send you home with one message. Stay curious. You're now at the frontier of AI. You're now at the very front of what the world has to offer. So one round of applause to yourself, and good night. That's it.